Hello, Nathaniel and Nevaeh and Tyler. My plan was to record what we did today in class. I was recording what we did today in class, but somehow we got to the end and there were issues with things that didn't actually end up recording. So I'm going to give you the quick version of what we did today. During this video, you'll definitely need to pause it in certain places so you can do what I'm asking you to do and then get back with everything else. But hopefully this is going to make a little bit of sense. What we talked about today is dilating about other points. Yesterday we said that our center of dilation was the origin for everything, which really means I'm expanding everything centered at the origin. I take the origin, I'm growing everything around that place. Technically, if I say dilate something by a factor of 2 about the origin, it's increasing the distance between your points and the origin by a factor of 2, doubling those distances. What we looked at today in class is what happens if our center of dilation is somewhere else. The first thing I want you to do, so we're on page 134 in the notes. Can you take a moment, pause the video, and just plot your pre-image triangle on that grid? Pause the video and go do that. I'm going to do it quickly. Should look like that for the pre-image. To dilate about a point that is not the origin, the first thing we need to do is graph the pre-image, which I already did, and plot the center of dilation. And in this case, I told you the center of dilation is -3, -1. That's the point about which I'm going to expand things. Step number 1, graph the pre-image and plot the center. You might want to pause the video so you can get that in your notes. My center of dilation is the point -3, -1, so I want to point it -3, -1 right over there. And the whole point is I'm going to start here and expand the shape around this point rather than starting at the origin and expand around that point. This is definitely more involved than yesterday. Yesterday where we just had to multiply our coordinates by the scale factor. A little different here. Step 2, I need to determine how far left and right and up and down each point is from the center of dilation. Determine how far left or right and up or down each point is from the center of dilation. You might want to pause to get that in your notes. Here's what I mean by this. My center of dilation is -3, -1. I want to talk about, let me write the y over there. I want to talk about how far the x is from there, how far the y is from there, how far the z is from there. I think to get from the center to x, we're going to move left 2 and up 2. Left 2 and up 2. That's what I mean by determine how far left and right and up and down each point is from the center. Here's my center. I went left 2 and up 2 to get to x. To get to y from the center, I would move right 1 and up 1. So I'm going to say right 1 and up 1. You can do it in words, but I think it's going to be easier to do it in arrows. To get to z, I'm going to go right 1, down 2 from that center. Right 1, down 2. That's step number 2. Pause to make sure this is all in your notes. What I now need to do is multiply these movements by the scale factor. Multiply these movements by the scale factor. Pause to get that in your notes. My scale factor is 2, which means it's going to make your shape bigger. I'm going to multiply my movements by 2. What I mean by that is left 2 up 2 becomes left 2 times 2, 4. And up 2 times 2, 4. Multiply these movements by 2. Becomes right 1 times 2, 2. Up 1 times 2, 2. Multiply these movements by 2. Right 2, down 4. This is not like yesterday where I was multiplying coordinates by my scale factor. Today I'm multiplying the movements by my scale factor. Push pause if you need to get another moment to get that in your notes. Step 4. We're going to now plot our image. And to do this, I'm going to start from the center of dilation, and I'm going to move the appropriate new movements that I just calculated. I'm going to plot the image, starting from the center, and moving the appropriate amount. Pause to make sure that's in your notes. So now, to get to my new x, my x prime, my directions say I should move from the center, left 4 and up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. My x prime is right over there. To get to my y prime, I'm going to start from my center, and I'm going to use these movements of go right 2 and up 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Y prime is over there. To get to my new z, I'm going to start from that center of dilation. My movements say go right 2, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Z prime is there. I'm going to connect the dots. And your dilated shape should look like that. Every side is twice as big as it was originally. If I dilated it about the origin, it would still look like that. It would just be in a different position on the grid. But if I'm saying this is my center, I've taken this distance and expanded it by 2. Taken this distance and expanded it by 2, and so on. The last thing we need to do is give coordinates of the image, and I'm just going to look at what I have there and write out my coordinates. I think the coordinates of x prime, -7, 3. I think my coordinates of y prime, -1, 1. And my coordinates of z prime, -1, -5. Pause this video to make sure all of this is in your notes, and then I'm going to show you 2 more examples. On the next page, can you hit pause for a moment and go graph your pre-image and then stop? Let's graph that quadrilateral. Oh, wait a minute, there's a mistake here. Should be A, B, C, D, not M, N, O, P. Plot, and let's go. Pause the video, please. Hopefully your pre-image looks like that. What's the center of dilation? I told you it was -2, 0. Actually, I'm going to use orange. Orange tends to show up nicely with this. -2, 0, you're over there. That's the center of dilation. We're dilating by a factor of 3, which means when we're done, it's going to make it 3 times as big. What I now need to do is figure out the movements to get from my center to each of those points. How are you going to get from your center to A? I think you're going left 2 and up 1. How are you getting from your center to B? I think you're going right 1, up 2. I would suggest you pause the video and you try to do C and D. To get to C, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, right and down 1, right 3, down 1. To get to D, left 1, down 1, 2, 3. And I've got my movements. Next step. The scale factor is 3, so I'm going to multiply those movements by 3. What this means is my new movements to get to the new A, to get to the A prime, will be left 6 and up 3. My new movements to get to B prime will be right 1 times 3, 3, up 2 times 3, 6. Keep going with those last two. Press pause, try to do C and D. Now that we have those movements, I'm going to start from that center of dilation and use those movements to get to my new points. I'm going to take this center of dilation. To get to my new A, my A prime, I should go left 6 and up 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. A prime is there. To get to my new B, I'm going to go right 3, 1, 2, 3, up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My new B is over there. Push pause and get to, plot your new C prime and D prime, starting from your center of dilation and using those movements. Okay, so I'm going to connect the dots. Yep, looks 3 times as big as it was before. We just now need to get the coordinates in there. A prime looks like -8, 3. Actually, how about you push pause, take a moment, get those coordinates written down. And we're going to do one more. We only got to one more example in class. Take a moment, push pause, and plot your original quadrilateral. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to make a change. I want to change the coordinates over here of C to 5, -8, or it won't work out nicely. Push pause, and go plot that pre-image. My center of dilation is 1, -2. So there's my center. We need to go figure out the movements that will get us to A, B, C, and D. I'll get you started, you'll do the rest. To get from the center to A, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up, 4 left, 6 up. Go get the movements to get to B, C, and D. Push pause and figure those out. Now, the directions say dilate by a factor of a half, which means I'm going to multiply all of these movements by a half. To do this, especially because it's going to make like the 5 halves that we could look at in another example easier, I'm going to put them over 1 so I can multiply my fractions together. What do you get when you do 4 over 1 times 1 over 2? You're going to get 4 times 1 is 4, 1 times 2 is 2, 4 over 2. What do you get when you do 6 over 1 times 1 over 2? 6 over 2. And what's that really, of course? That's really left 2, up 3. Multiply 2 over 1 by 1 over 2, you get 2 over 2. Multiply 4 by 1 and 1 by 2, you get 4 over 2, which gives me right 1, up 2. You go do C and D. I'm done with the hard part. Now we're going to start at that center of dilation, and we're going to use those movements. To get to my new A, I should be going left 2, up 3, and that's A prime. To get to my new B, right 1, up 2. To get to my new C, right 2, down 3. To get to my new D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Push pause, get those coordinates, and we'll be all set. And you should have something like that. Hope this made some sense. We'll probably do a little bit more practice with this tomorrow in class, and I will see you guys then.